There's this guy I work with. His name is Zach. Now, I've only known Zach for 5, maybe 6 months. But after a little while, you start to unconsciously categorize people's character. Like, are they shy? Are they loud? Do they try to make conversation when you're in the bathroom? Stuff like that. So far, Zach strikes me as the Jim Halpert type. Stoic but witty, unassuming but unflappable. The type of person who, on a typical day, if you stuck a microphone in front of their face, would give the verbal equivalent of a shrug emoji. And right now, he is scared shitless.
Stressed out of my mind. It's every sound, my head is pivoting, feeling my heart rate. I've got my Apple Watch on. I was tracking it on Tuesday. It was exercise.
He sits up straighter than anyone has ever sat at a San Francisco tech office.
You can't turn it off, this just hyper-awareness of the sounds around you.
He works in a cubicle, though right now he's describing more of a jail cell. He still reminds me of Jim Halpert, although in that episode with the snowball fight. Now, I know what you're thinking, what with paranoia in the workplace and all, but don't get me wrong, this isn't some fascistic Orwellian nightmare. No, this is something far, far worse. This is Assassin. I'm Alex Wong. All of this fear and anxiety started a few weeks ago, when there was some talk about, believe it or not, a game.
The game came about because we, pre-pandemic, did a round of Assassin at the office, and it was a lot of fun then. And I may have a imperfect memory, but I think in that one that I won it.
This is Kyle, the organizer of our little competition. He's responsible for setting up the game, codifying the rules, and arbitrating any disputes. Since we'll be meeting another Kyle later on, I'll be calling him the Game Master.
It had been a couple years since we last run it, and I think most people here hadn't played it, and so, we thought it was time.
It didn't take long for him to be proven right.
There was a lot of early interest, and getting people on board was pretty easy for the first 25, 30, and then did a bunch of outreach to other people to sign up, their friends and reports, and kind of took off from there.
The rules of Assassin are pretty simple. At the start of the game, each player is assigned a target to eliminate. Eliminations are performed by tapping someone without them knowing, usually from behind. When someone performs an elimination, they get assigned their target's target as their new target. The game ends when only one player is left, the champion. Since the upshot of this is more or less a giant game of tag, and we're in an office, not a playground, our game master had to make some slight tweaks.
One big change we made is instead of sort of the traditional assassin method of tapping someone or tapping someone on the back, we used plastic spoons. And then we had normal, obvious stuff like no running, no jumping, no diving, stuff of that nature.
Game Master Kyle sounds like the fun police here, although no one could really argue with him. Along with the rules, the Game Master announced the parameters of play. Action would occur on the 4th and 6th floors, our two most populated, with the game live on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and a safe lunch hour from 12 to 1 where no eliminations could occur. And with that, the stage was set. Assassin would be played 2 times a week, 5 hours a day, for however long it takes. And all of this struggle, all of this fight, all of this competition would be for what? A t-shirt. Day 1 was a Tuesday, and it began with 38 players, eager-eyed, spoons in hand, looking to get started on their kills. They spread out among the 4th and 6th floors, forming a 3-dimensional playing field with trouble lurking around every corner. Right away, action ensued, and it didn't take long for different strategies to emerge.
Best kill is probably my first one.
Some players, like Kyle here, came out swinging. By the way, this is not Game Master Kyle, who we heard earlier. This is Player Kyle, who we'll just call Kyle. Sorry about that.
It was legit like when the game started. My kill was on the 6th floor. I just legit walked up near their area, pretending that I was going to talk to someone else that was in the area, and then I just, bam, went for the kill right there.
While Kyle attacked immediately, others, like Ansh, waited patiently for their opportunity.
My first target was Alyssa. And she was tough. She was very tough. She definitely, I think, caught a sniff that I was on the lookout for her, but maybe that's why she brought her dog in to protect her, but sadly it didn't work because as soon as she started talking about Gilmore Girls in the small kitchen, that's when I took my chance.
And then there was Sam.
I have definitely been laying low for the entirety of the game, just chilling in my corner and watching everyone kill each other off.
I was a proponent of this strategy too, until I died early on the second day.
I didn't plan to do so, but as I kind of saw everyone going for each other, I figured, well, let me just let them do the dirty work and I'll just, hang out.
Early in the contests, not just for these three, but for everyone, it was about testing strategy and feeling out the competition. Sort of like the opening games of a tennis match, or the first few sauces on hot ones. All in all, when the clock struck 4 p.m., Day 1 had culled the field by a third, claiming 12 lives and leaving 26 assassins remaining. Day 2 was a Thursday, and it began with more of the same. Steady eliminations and an office increasingly tense. For Zach, it was an opportunity to get his first kill.
First Thursday, I made my strike. Crept down low to the ground. Made sure to wear shoes that weren't squeaky. That's big. Really big. And I was able to get a kill, and that changed everything. That was the moment the adrenaline kicked in, blood pressure spiked, worried about some of those results, but hopefully the game will end before that becomes a problem.
Meanwhile, some players started to get creative.
My one plan so far that I tried was to have a disguise with a mustache and a hat and sunglasses.
This is Danny, who always seems to be on top of office hijinks, whether it's fantasy football, Crocs Thursday...
Can I talk about the mustache a bit more?
Oh, yeah, by all means, go ahead.
So the mustache, I got it off of Etsy. I was originally looking at Amazon, and it was for a Halloween costume from last year. I was Ted Lasso. And all the mustaches just looked so bad on Amazon, so I went on Etsy, and it's like a legit mustache that people who make wigs do. So I thought it was a good mustache. And I was hoping if I walked by in my costume, no one would notice, but they laughed right away. So it didn't work.
Mustache or not, it became clear that after spending a day scheming and plotting, now was the time to act. And the urgency would become even more real in the afternoon, thanks to the Game Master.
We try to discourage distractions in the game, but inevitably some people will get very committed to it, and we don't want those people to be committed to it for too long. So some of the mechanics introduced were to keep the game moving quickly. So those were things like the immunity challenge.
Each day of play from here on out, Game Master Kyle would introduce a twist, some new element that our assassins would have to navigate. The first of these was a doozy, the immunity challenge. Here on day 2, from 1 p.m. until the end of play at 4, whoever completed the most kills would earn a full day of immunity, meaning that on a future day of their choosing, they could be completely safe. As the Game Master had hoped, this triggered a number of kills in the afternoon session, but at the end of the day, one assassin reigned supreme. And it was someone who, 99% of the time, is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But on this day,
I was a killer, if I'm being honest.
meet Lauren.
I always like a challenge, so I took the challenge, ran with it. Everyone else only had 1 kill that day, I did 2.
Lauren was actually out of office on the first day due to a work event. But for her debut performance, she came out with a spoon in her hand and murder on her mind.
I definitely was motivated to win the immunity day because I knew it could set me up for success. It's honestly been a bloodbath recently, so being safe is a huge win.
With the immunity token, Lauren had earned a second day of safety to be used at her discretion. And it put the rest of the office on notice. As Zach said,
Lauren is a favorite, maybe exclusively because of this immunity.
in total, there were 9 eliminations on the first Thursday, and the field that had started at 38 had been narrowed to 17 by the weekend. But for Sam and the rest of the office, it was becoming evident that some of those 17 were more prepared for the rest of the game than others.
If I had to put my money on someone, I'd probably put it on Lauren. I think she, from what I've seen, super good at the game, so I think she's out for blood.
technically, it's almost 5 days between the end of the first week of Assassin and the start of the second. But for the remaining players, the next day of play sure came fast. And then, that morning, they were hit with some news. When at 9 a.m., 1 hour before the commencement of Day 3, the next twist was announced.
I am on edge with the mercenary rule.
On this fateful Tuesday, select players were granted a mercenary. A mercenary was someone who had previously been killed, but could now make eliminations on behalf of their new boss. For Zach, getting this power-up added another dimension to the game.
I met with my mercenary in the morning. We took a map of the office and laid out attack plans. We were drawing arrows, lefts, rights. What if this happens, contingencies. Everything swirling through my mind. It was like that meme of the person with all the math.
With mercenaries in the fold, no one and nowhere was safe. Here's Kyle.
I cannot trust anybody because I think in the second week that the people who were my desk mates were already dead. So I didn't have to worry too much about them like trying to attack me. But as soon as the mercenary rule came in, like they are also all of a sudden fair game.
And Lauren?
I felt so stressed. I think I took at least a year off my life because I was kind of laying low and I kept hearing that my name was being passed around multiple people because so many kills happened. So I think throughout the span of the day, 3 different people were trying to target me. And at one point, someone did attempt to target me and ran behind me. And I jumped off the couch, jumped. Physically, my heart was racing. And I never wanted to feel like that again.
For 2 days, Assassin was just a game. But after the addition of mercenaries and the culling of the field, it became much more than that.
It really changes the way that you look at the world and the people around you.
And this isn't just Zach being dramatic. Everybody felt the shift. From Kyle
You start questioning people's character, people's actions.
to Sam
Well, normally, you see people and you're just like, hey, just passing them and not really thinking much of it. But now when, it's during kill time, you're kind of just, thinking, is this person here to do something else other than say hi? Or so it makes me nervous.
to Danny.
Anytime someone who isn't on the 6th floor has been up there, it's so suspicious. So, this morning I saw Zach and I was like, you're not supposed to be up here. There's no reason. And I have everyone's schedules written down. I know why you're up here.
To Anch.
It's very horror movie-esque, turning corners, opening the fridge, going into closets, going into meeting rooms. It's always who's going to pop up behind the curtain, who's going to be crawling underneath the table. I've seen people fall over. I've seen people hit their head against the wall because they're scared that someone's around the corner. So that's the vibe right now. That's the situation.
Toward the end of Day 3, as the number of players shrunk below 10, the office resembled an archipelago, with the remaining players hunkering down on their islands of solitude. But, as Lauren clocked, there was one notable exception.
I've been mostly playing a game focused around me staying alive and less focused around other people. Some other players have been very focused on the inner workings of the game and who everyone has, but I'd like to say I've been focused on myself.
You're talking about a specific person when you say people that are focused on.
Yes.
Who is that?
Nick.
Ah, yes. Nick. The dark cloud looming over the entire competition.
Nick has been siphoning information from everyone, and people are telling him it, and that's on them. But Nick's collected information the entire game. He's been 2 on the inside, and so, yeah, I think if he were to win, it would be a little hard for all of us to bear that weight.
The first thing you'll hear about Nick, and that you'll hear from everyone else around the office, is that well, I'll just let him tell you himself.
I think I may be one of the favorites just because I'm a tryhard.
Nick is a pure competitor, in the truest sense of the word. If you give him a goal and a means to get there, he will do anything possible to make it happen. And he gets results.
Nick is always the favorite. Nick wins everything. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense.
Around the office, we have this fun game called Music League. There's 5 rounds, and each round there's a theme, like Halloween songs or songs without lyrics, and you pick a song that fits that theme. Then your fellow competitors vote on which songs they like, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. We've had 3 music leagues. Nick's won twice.
Because I'm so competitive, I'm going to try hard and do what it takes to win. Like mapping out everyone who's killed everyone thus far, and crawling through random areas, and doing the stuff that would kind of maybe be like too much effort for other people.
At the start of Assassin, he didn't wait long to make his imprint on the game.
I was assigned Andreas as my target, and he proved to be the one who came out of the gates, hell's blazing, got 3 kills in the morning. I'm like, I have to kill this guy, and he was telling people he knew it was me, and was actually walking around taunting me with the fact that he knew it was me, walking in front of me like, are you gonna kill me?
Here's Andreas' neighbor, Danny.
I was convinced Andreas was gonna win, and I went into this contest thinking I'm not gonna win because Andreas is gonna get me out at some point. So Nick got Andreas out, and I was shocked and a little afraid.
I ended up crawling through that parallel corridor, past a bunch of cubes of people I had never met before, got to the cube next to him, reached over the wall, and got him. I think that kill left me feeling a little bloodthirsty.
And today, he eliminated Simone, his neighbor.
Everyone was sitting around the infamous safe haven couch area near our cubes, and Simone, I was standing next to her, she turned around, and I got her, and Simone was upset, and I felt bad about it.
He may have felt bad, but the kill certainly resonated in the office, particularly with Kyle.
It was just so sad. I know Simone really wanted to get Nick eliminated, but for that to turn out that way, yeah, that was just a gut punch.
As you can see, it seems that Nick's defining trait, and his superpower, isn't a trait of his at all. It's that he lives in everyone's head.
I could tell you people are definitely rooting against Nick because he wins everything.
I think a lot of people don't care who wins, they just hope that Nick loses.
Kyle's head especially.
Honestly, my main goal for this game is to get Nick eliminated. After that, I couldn't care less if I win. I just want him to be gone. Because Nick is a competitor. He just seems to win everything, music league and whatnot. And so there are a lot of people that are preying on his downfall. And, I want to be the one that takes him out.
You know what they say, every good story needs a villain.
Why do people treat me like the villain? I think it's sometimes I present myself as overly confident, whether there's grounds for it or not. And so when I do something like win music league, it's easy to be okay, Nick's being annoying about it, because I am annoying about it, and I do lean into it. So I think it's very valid for people to be annoyed with me as the villain role. But if I'm going to be in that role, I might as well, be that role, and I have learned to accept it.
It started out as a silly game. It really did. I mean, come on, we're chasing each other around with spoons at work. But to those left in the fight, after a week plus of visualizing their next assassination and postponing their own demise, that spoon starts to look like a different piece of cutlery. And if they're not careful, even for a moment, it'll end up square in their back.
It feels more like real life than real life. This is critical. This is critical. It's my identity lives on this now.
At the start of day 3, there were 17 players still breathing. At the end of day 3, there were only 7.
My name is Danny, and I am on the 6th floor.
My name is Ansh, and I'm on the 6th floor.
My name is Sam. I'm from the 6th floor.
My name is Kyle, and I'm on the 4th floor.
My name is Zach. I'm on the 4th floor.
I'm Lauren, and I'm on the 4th floor.
Nick, 4th floor.
We're in the endgame now, and it's still anybody's prize for the taking. The final group is locked in, and it's going to take 6 moments of absolute brilliance to crown a champion. You know, you may be laughing at all this, at the commitment, at the solemnity, at the genuine suspense. And you're totally within your right to do so. But I guarantee you one thing. If you were in this office, playing this game, with this cast of characters, you'd be scared shitless too. Thank you for listening to This is Assassin. Don't forget to rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed this, check out my oral history of the TV show Community, called The Story of Community, available wherever podcasts are downloaded and at bit.ly/thestoryofcommunity. That's all lowercase. You can also see my sports broadcasting work at Alex Wong Media on YouTube or bit.ly/AlexWongMediaYT, again all lowercase. This is Assassin is produced and edited by me, Alex Wong, with music by Kevin MacLeod and Ross Bugden. Thank you to Game Master Kyle, Danny, Ansh, Sam, Kyle, Lauren, Zach, and Nick for participating in this project. Also special thanks to Divya Satish, Akshit Dhawan, and Alan Ding for their feedback throughout. This podcast is produced using GarageBand and distributed through Spreaker. Thank you for listening.